At the Biko Academic Hospital due to end-stage kidney disease. The department announced that once discharged from hospital, he will stay in the medical wing of the prison indefinitely. Last year, Selebi was found guilty of corruption. He was to begin his 15-year jail sentence early this month after the Supreme Court of Appeal rejected his appeal. Correctional Services Deputy Commissioner Zacharia Modise is joining us now from our Pretoria studio to give us a little bit more clarity on this. Zacharia, thank you very much for joining us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you, Leanne, and good morning to you and your viewers.
Now, your department said on doctors' recommendations that Selebi will remain in the medical wing of the prison indefinitely. What does it imply, and what circumstances will bring change to this?
Leanne, yes, I should confirm that doctors have ruled that Mr. Selebi be kept in a separate wing. This implies that we then have, as a department, to ensure that the cell or the hospital bed where he will be kept shall have sufficient clean water, meaning that we'll have to look at the manner in which the water that gets to that cell is purified. Meaning also that we'll have to modify that cell to suit the conditions that doctors require for him to be able to be incarcerated in our prison and to be treated there.
Yeah. We talk about him being at the end stage of kidney disease. In actual fact, does this mean that Mr. Selebi is terminally ill?
Leanne, I would like to pronounce myself on his illness and to which extent that is. I think Dr. Birman yesterday was in a better position to have responded, which he did. What I can only say is that Mr. Selebi is a very sick person, critically so, and that Biko Academic is trying to assist us in managing his illness.
Last week you were quoted as saying, we will only grant Mr. Selebi medical parole if circumstances surrounding his illness compel us to do so. The 2011 Correctional Matters Amendment Act actually states that an inmate can be released if it can be proved that he or she is terminally ill or severely incapacitated. Is there a possibility of Selebi paroled on health reasons? Is this something that is in the pipeline?
Leanne, you are quite correct when you say that the amendment matters to the Act actually was indicating to us clearly under which conditions people can be released under medical parole. At this point in time, we have not received anything from the doctor that is treating Mr. Selebi, nor have we received anything from his lawyers. And we as a department also have not started any process of medical paroling Mr. Selebi. I think that will be dependent on his medical condition, also but what our doctors would then be saying to us, I think importantly so.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are many inmates who die in prison due to an illness. Who actually qualifies for a medical parole? What basis are they evaluated on, and how does it actually work? Let's get some clarity on this.
Leanne, you would remember that before the amendment to the Act came into being, normally when an offender is ill, our nursing team at that particular correctional center would be the ones that start that process by making a submission to the doctor. Then the doctor would then examine an offender and then place that in front of a parole board who will then take a decision. Now, with the amendment to the Act, what we have included there is that apart from the doctor that is treating the offender making a recommendation, we also would have a medical advisory council that has been instituted by the minister for them to specifically look into the kind of illness and as to whether the person that is being recommended is unable to care for himself or herself. And on the basis of that decision or any recommendation, then the parole board will then make a final recommendation to the office of the minister.
Yeah, the department has said it's unfair to actually make a comparison between Shabir Sheikh and Jackie Selebi, because that is what people are automatically doing. Obviously, Selebi, as you say, have not applied for medical parole, but the public still cannot help but question whether there's a precedent created where prominent figures experience preferential and better treatment. What is your response to accusations like this?
Leanne, I do not think this is the right platform for me to express myself on the release of Shabir Sheikh. I don't think that would be correct. What I can say now, and what I'm informed of, is that Mr. Selebi is indeed a very ill person, and we are, as a department, focusing on what treatment we can provide, and if unable to, then Steve Biko will be the correct instance to advise us as to how we should take Mr. Selebi's case forward. I do understand the anxiety as well as the confusion and speculation around the release of Mr. Shabir Sheikh, which I think correctional services can, if needed, provide adequate responses to the release of Mr. Shabir Sheikh.
Would any normal prisoner be getting the same treatment? If any nameless, faceless person had to be put into a correctional services facility and they were suffering from the same illness as Selebi is, would they be given this much medical attention? Would they be also recommended to stay in a ward for the rest and the remainder of their stay in prison? So you're saying there's no precedent set. Doesn't matter who you are, you'll get this treatment.
Absolutely, and in correctional services across the country, all persons incarcerated are equal, and we're treating them the same way. If any offender, be it a male or a female, whose condition is similar to that of Mr. Selebi, and doctors actually indicate to us that this is the way to treat this person, that's what we will do. Ours is to incarcerate, and if necessary, we get advice from other institutions in this country, like the Department of Health. We then act according to the recommendation that we have received. And in the case of Mr. Selebi, he's not being treated differently than any other offender. It's just that our facility at Pretoria Local is not in a position to be providing the circumstances that are needed for the treatment of Mr. Selebi. And as such, we need then to make this modification. If it was any other offender, we would have done the same. Yeah.
Selebi's medical condition was divulged during the press conference yesterday, but it was not the case with Shabir. I know you don't want to talk about Shabir Sheikh, but the doctors cited doctor-patient confidentiality clause in Shabir cases, Sheikh. Why not in Selebi's condition? Why is this being exposed?
I think as a department, and led by National Commissioner Tom Moyane, we discussed on this matter of Mr. Selebi, and because of the speculations that have been made that Mr. Selebi is faking illness, and after we had consulted with the family of Selebi, with himself and the doctor, we found it very important to have released the statement that we made yesterday, and to inform the South African public that indeed, Mr. Selebi is a critically ill person, and his illness is not something that has just started now. You would remember what Dr. Bierman said yesterday, that she could pick up from the files that were provided to her from Jacaranda Hospital, that Mr. Selebi had been suffering from kidney malfunction since 2009. Now, with all of these other diseases that he's suffering from, you know that he's having difficulty with his own blood sugar levels, together with high blood pressure. It then creates a situation that we as a department are unable to manage. That's why we need then specialist, qualified practitioners who will then be in a position to assist us. And we took that decision, having also the relationship between doctor and patient, but also the fact that Mr. Selebi is not just an ordinary offender. South Africans have been speculating right through, and it was important then to set the record straight.
How different is the case to that of Clive Derby-Lewis, who's serving time for killing SACP leader Chris Hani?
As we speak now, on this very same day, Correctional Services has not received any application for medical release of Clive Derby-Lewis. And I do not think that this is the correct platform and time to be talking about Clive Derby-Lewis. Once an application has been received, once he has been treated by doctors and them recommending, surely then the delegated authority in this regard shall then be in a position to take that decision.
All right, Zacharia, thank you for talking to us. Zacharia Modise is from Correctional Services, giving us some clarity on the Jackie Selebi issue. Announcements made yesterday that he will receive treatment at the Steve Biko Academic Hospital due to end-stage kidney disease, and he will also remain in a medical facility for the 15 years that he has been sentenced to. Right.